Hey, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here, and today's video will be covering another Nintendo Switch eShop sale and 10 more RPGs worth buying, so let's get into it. The first game on today's list is Earthlock. And so Earthlock is a turn-based RPG that is heavily inspired by RPGs from the 90s, and you'll play as a Mon and a band of heroes as they go on a quest to rescue his uncle that's been kidnapped, and this leads into a massive adventure where you'll travel across the world. And so the combat in this game is focused around more traditional turn-based battles, but one thing that definitely makes the combat unique is that each character has multiple classes that they can choose from, and you'll be able to switch between them during battle. This leads to some unique strategy and challenging boss encounters throughout the game. You'll have your base main story to explore, but also many different side quests throughout the game, and eventually you'll unlock a base hub world where you'll be able to take part in things like gardening, crafting weapons and items, and much more. If you're looking for a great throwback to classic 90s RPGs with a modern twist, I definitely recommend it. The next game on today's list is Tangled Deep. And so Tangled Deep is a roguelike tactical RPG dungeon crawler, and it's definitely a challenging RPG with extremely addicting gameplay. And so since it has those roguelike elements, you're likely going to die a lot, but you'll certainly feel that progression and learning as you die and take on dungeons again and again with different characters. And so there are a bunch of character types you can choose from things like a brigger to a paladin, spellcasting characters, archers, and much more. And each one has their own unique play style and skill sets that you'll develop through each run. On top of that, you have the ability to capture and raise monsters that you can bring with you to help you on your way. And so if you're looking for a new roguelike dungeon crawler with addicting RPG elements, this one could be worth checking out. The next game on today's list is God Wars: The Complete Legend. And so this is a tactical RPG set in ancient Japan that's based around different folklore tales throughout Japanese history. And so this game is actually an enhanced version of the original game, and this comes with all the included DLC as well. And so it's definitely a massive game that could span well over 100 hours if you try and complete everything. But the base of the game is a turn-based tactical RPG. And so similar to RPG classics like Final Fantasy Tactics, you'll need to maneuver your characters around the stage to take out enemies, and you'll get different advantages while you're attacking based on your positioning. So whether you're behind a character, shooting from above, attacking from the side, all of those have different benefits and can help you do more damage and increase the accuracy of your attacks. Also similar to Final Fantasy Tactics, instead of just swapping turns from one character team to the enemy team, your turn order is going to be determined by the speed of your characters. So this adds another layer of strategy into your team mechanics. Characters are also going to have different job classes that they can choose from, as well as skill trees that they can build out, and you're able to have a main job as well as a sub-job class, which gives you a lot of customization for your characters. There's a massive main story as well as a bunch of different side quests to explore, and if you like addicting tactical RPGs, this one could definitely be worth checking out. The next game on today's list is Chocobo Mystery Dungeon: Everybody. And so this is a remake of a game that came out originally on the Wii, and it's a dungeon crawling turn-based strategy RPG. And so you're going to play as a Chocobo as he explores through a bunch of different dungeons, and you and your friend Sid are transported to a village where everyone has lost their memory. And part of your quest is to go on this journey trying to restore everyone's memory and unravel the mystery of this memory loss. And in order to do that, you need to dive into people's memories, which conveniently builds out a dungeon for you to explore. And so these dungeons are randomly generated, so it's a unique experience every time you go in the dungeon. There's main story dungeons as well as side quests, but you'll be able to choose from a bunch of different classes for your Chocobo as well. So you'll find your classic Final Fantasy job classes, and this can really help you out in the different dungeons. Because as you dive into the dungeons, you'll be faced with unique challenges, be it a unique shape to the dungeon, or maybe things like you can't use healing items and much more. And so you'll need to strategically plan what job class you go into the dungeon with if you hope to succeed throughout this game. If you're looking for a lighthearted dungeon crawler featuring classic Final Fantasy job classes and characters, I think you'll enjoy this game as well. The next game on today's list is Onanaki. And so this is a dungeon crawler action RPG that's sort of similar, like a melding between Final Fantasy's job classes and character skill trees and an action RPG like Diablo. And you play as Kagashi, who is a watcher that's helped people that have died cross over to the afterlife. And so you'll go through a unique story helping many different people cross over into the afterlife that have unresolved issues, and you'll need to go between the regular world and the dark world to help these people along their way. And so like I mentioned, it's an action RPG, and you'll be able to equip different demons, which give you unique abilities on the battlefield. And so these are kind of like the job classes in the Final Fantasy series. And so this will give your characters the ability to use unique skill sets and weapon types, as well as unlocking skill trees for the different demons as you progress. Another cool feature is that you can have different loadouts for these demons and switch between them on the fly. It's a unique action RPG with a compelling story, and if you like games from the Final Fantasy series and games like Diablo, I think you'll enjoy this game as well. The next game on today's list is Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero. And so this is a classic turn-based RPG, revitalized and brought to the Switch. And you'll play as a band of heroes that work for the local police department that try and help out people in trouble all around the city and the surrounding areas. Unfortunately, the police department doesn't have the best reputation in this city, and so you're working an uphill battle trying to build out your reputation and make a name for yourselves in this squad. And so the game features turn-based combat where characters will unleash unique abilities, and so you'll learn these abilities throughout the game as you progress, and each one of them can have unique requirements in order to unlock the different abilities. And so it can get quite addicting trying to unlock all of these different unique arts and crafts for your characters to experience them all. There's a large main story, but also mini games like fishing, cooking, and much more to break up the pace during this turn-based RPG. And so if you like classic turn-based RPGs, I think you'll enjoy this one as well. The next game on today's list is Tales of Vesperia, the Definitive Edition. And so this is another entry in the classic Tales series that originally came out on the Xbox 360 and has been remastered and revamped with extra bonus content on this Definitive Edition. And so in this game, you start your adventure off as Yuri, who is a young swordsman that tries to stop a thief from stealing a unique item that provides water for the district in his city. And so he chases after this thief and ends up getting arrested, and it unravels into a huge adventure spanning the entire world from there. But where this game really stands out, on top of its great story, is its fast-paced action-based combat. And so similar to other titles in the Tales series, combat is almost a blend between action RPGs and fighting games. And so you'll have a cast of characters that you'll be able to play as and switch between on the fly during battle. And so each character has their own unique abilities and play style, but what's really cool is the progression system of their different arts. So you can unlock new arts throughout the story, but also through utilizing them effectively in battle. So it might be if you use a certain art so many times, or you combo different arts together consistently, you can unlock a combination art and much more. And so this is really fun trying to unlock all these different skills for your characters, and the combat is incredibly engaging and keeps you on your toes as well. This is one of the better stories in the Tales series. It has great gameplay, addicting combat, and if you haven't yet played this definitive edition of Tales of Vesperia, I definitely recommend it. The next game on today's list is Collection of Mana. Now what's really cool is this collection has 3 different games on it. You get Final Fantasy Adventure that came out originally on the Game Boy, and 2 Super Nintendo RPGs, Secret of Mana and Trials of Mana. Now prior to this point, Trials of Mana had actually never came to the US with a translated version, and so you'll be able to experience this game for the first time in its full glory in this collection. And so each one of these games are action RPGs, but another cool feature of this collection is that with Secret of Mana and Trials of Mana, you can also play local co-op as well. Now each one of the stories really centers around the mana tree and the legendary sword of mana, and most of the plots center around this great sword and restoring the power of the mana tree to save the world. That's kind of the recurring theme of this series. This collection also features a bunch of different quality of life improvements, like the ability to use save states and adjustable backgrounds for the various games. The combat is also cool where it's a mix of both action combat and a little bit of turn-based mechanics as well when you're unleashing different spells. You also have a power meter that charges up over time, so you'll need to strategically time your attacks to do the most damage to enemies. You'll face off against many different dungeons and explore the world, and face off against challenging bosses as well. If you haven't yet played these classic RPGs, I definitely recommend this collection. The next game on today's list is Star Ocean First Departure R. And so this is a remake of another Super Nintendo game and classic RPG revitalized on the Nintendo Switch. And so this game, the general plot is you're playing as several friends as they go on a quest to try and save their dying village that's being devastated by a terrible disease that's turning people to stone. And throughout their quest trying to find a cure, they actually run into some space travelers and end up going on a crazy adventure throughout space and time. And so the game itself is really almost a combination of sci-fi and fantasy at the same time. On top of that, it has really great action combat. It's kind of similar to the Tales series, where once you get into battle, you'll be in a small arena where you face off against monsters and you'll need to use different attacks and spells and abilities that your characters can unleash using the controller almost in a fighting game sense. On top of that, the customization of your characters is really fun and addicting as well, because after your battles you earn SP that you can then use to unlock and customize your characters to your liking, utilizing unique abilities and spells, building them out to your own unique playstyle. You'll have your main storyline, some sub-quests to take on. There's features like cooking and crafting weapons and much more. They definitely did a great job revitalizing this RPG on the Switch, and if you haven't played this first installment in the Star Ocean series, I definitely recommend it. The final game on today's list is Dragon Quest. Now this is a classic turn-based RPG that started the entire Dragon Quest series, and the general premise of this game is you're playing as a young hero that is a descendant of the great legendary hero, and you go on a quest to take out the evil Dragon Lord. And so this is actually a remake of the original NES game that's added in some unique features and quality of life improvements to the game as well. And so instead of the classic 8-bit graphics, it's actually a hybrid between pixel art graphics and hand-drawn artwork from Akira Toriyama. And so you'll encounter some classic Dragon Quest monsters and amazing music that you'll find scattered throughout the rest of the Dragon Quest series. The game itself can get pretty grindy, but it is almost an open world concept as well, where you technically have the ability to pretty much go anywhere you want. You just might encounter more difficult monsters if you go outside the main area you should be going. Now this version of the game does feature some quality of life improvements and does avoid some of the clunkiness that the original NES title had. It even has a revamped final dungeon that's a little bit different than the original NES classic. It's a little bit more easy to maneuver and explore. If you haven't yet played the original Dragon Quest, this is a great version to check out, and it's definitely one of my favorite classic RPGs, and if you haven't played it yet, I certainly recommend picking it up. But with that said, that wraps up this video on this latest Nintendo Switch eShop sale and 10 more RPGs worth buying. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button as it really helps out the channel. And if you're going to pick up any of these RPGs or if you've played any of them before, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And real quick, I also want to let you know about an upcoming sale that we're having in our Nerd Problems Gaming store. So if you like the t-shirts we wear in the videos and want to pick some of them up for yourself and check out any of the other nerd merch we have, like t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and much more, head over to nerdproblemsgaming.com/store, and from March 31st to April 5th, if you use the promo code PROBLEMS30, you'll actually get 30% off your order. So again, if you want to pick up some nerd merch from our store, head to nerdproblemsgaming.com/store and utilize the code PROBLEMS30 from March 31st to April 5th and get that 30% discount. And if you like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out, and to make sure you don't miss out on any other future sale videos so you can take advantage of these great deals. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.